Hi, welcome to the small shed. This week we're going to be making a start on the play equipment, the swings and slides for the garden, and that's coming up next. Well, it's time to put last week's theory into practice, and we're going to make a start on the wall panels. Now, I've laid out the main components that I believe I need and cut those to size, and then I'll make the one panel up, and if that works successfully I can then carry on and do the next 7. There's no point really in making 7 of something if you've made a mistake in it in the first place. So we're going to do that first, and I'll just show you what I've got. Now, it's fairly straightforward construction. There's basically 2 panels, 2 pieces of wood which are the top and bottom runners. Then there'll be 3 uprights, 1 at each end and 1 in the middle, which will be of slightly shorter stock, like that. And then there's a bottom rail, you won't see because that'll be out of picture, and a mid rail on one side for form it into effectively a doorway and a window panel and an infill below it. I'll just move that down so you can see I've already pre-cut. I'm using up some of the spare stuff off the shed. I shall make a small framework up in the bottom panel that will essentially just be a support of the top, bottom and the midpoint, mid rail, and then from that there will then be pieces of shiplap put together, and I think I just need to trim the top one very slightly to get in to make it fit. And then the remaining window opening, I'm using a plastic garden screen material that'll have again a similar timber frame around it that'll just slide in. These will be just screwed in. It's all pocket hole construction, very much as the main original shed. So I'm going to start on that. The main thing to do starting off is to do all the pocket holes. And I think that's going to be the, if this works, that will be the job for the next week or so, just doing nothing but pocket holes. But we'll make a start on the pocket holes first. Well, that's the first panel made up. All it needs now is to make this subframe of, I don't know, 1.5 by 3/4, something like that, which will support the hung and grooved on top. So I'm going to make the frame up, just screw it together. That will be screwed in either side just to retain it, and I can then fit the front. I'll probably assemble it actually within the frame, because it seems silly not to use that to make sure it'll all be square and fit, and then I can just drop them out if I do need. I'm not sure what we're doing about finishing on them yet. It's all treated timber, so it may be they'll get left as they are, but we'll see what the customer wants. Now, having established that the geometry is right and that the whole principle works correctly, I can now take all the timbers and take them over to mending sheds and get them cut down. I could do it here, but swinging 8-foot timbers around in a 7x9 shed is a bit of a handful, and particularly when you're wanting to cut 300mm off one end, it means I'm either moving the chop saw up and down, or I've got to set it up and open the window or something like that. So it's much easier just to put the whole thing in the car, take them down to mending sheds and cut it all en masse on the chop saw down there. Right, that's the first of the panels finished. What we're going to put in then is the infill for the window area. I'm going to paint the rest of the frame black, I think, so that it won't be quite so obtrusive. But that will go in there and be screwed in after the frame's mounted. And then there's the below panel there, which will go in. That's it. And again, they may or may not choose to paint that a different colour, I don't know. And then that leaves like a doorway in and out. So there'll be 8 of those, all identical, only 4 of them will be opposite hand. And then they can choose what they're doing with these in and out. There'll be a couple of them upstairs that'll have to be blacked out because we don't want people walking out of a doorway 4 foot up with nothing there. And I shall use another one of these panels, just cut in half rather than into quarters, and that will go into there. And I've just opened a small hole for joining the panels to the posts at the corners. Put a Forstner bit in first and then run a 10mm through it, and that will enable the bolt and its washer to be below the surface, so that where the panels are slipped inside, that won't impede the progress. So that's pretty much the last job on the panels themselves. They're more or less ready to ship down to Weston now, so I think I'll move on with that. Just to show you, there is a pretty good indication here of the limits I'm working to. I mean, I'm just about got enough room under there to get them in under the timber, but I really am pushing it with these panels as to what I can do inside the shed. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. This one is now more or less finished, and we'll also be going off down south. If you like the video, please press like and subscribe. Thank you to all those who have subscribed. I do appreciate it. I read all the comments. Always happy to see the comments that are made. And I look forward to seeing you next week when we'll move on to the floor panels. Bye.